What's up, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Moon with Life. Been a minute since I've done recording. I started school, trying to figure out my life with school, and so that led to obviously an extended pause. We're about halfway through the semester now. I think next week or this week, as you're watching this, is the halfway point. So midterms, kinda. It's definitely been interesting to adjust and to get back into a college student mindset, not just learning necessarily and having to cross hurdles isn't the right word. Definitely little obstacles. Obstacles is probably a better word than hurdles, because you do your work, you do the extra credit, you study for your tests, and then you take your tests, and you move on with your day. Definitely one thing that I do like about the school piece of my weekly life is I have a lot of control over my time, in the sense of doing homework as needed, but not just doing homework as needed. Being able to do homework and still manage anything that comes up, competitions, family get-togethers, many things, right? The other day, I think we were on a little break. So I'm doing essentially 3-hour classes. As far as like each session is 3 hours, and I'm doing sciences and so on. But like even this past week, I overslept one of the days, and I was still able to get to school on time. I wasn't necessarily late. I know how much time it takes me to get there, so I have all that stuff in order. And I remember one of the days I was tired. I don't know if it was last week or the previous week, but either way, I was tired. And the biggest thing I thought of, though, because I was like trying to think about my day, it's like, okay, like, man, can I squeeze in a nap? Can I not squeeze in a nap? And the biggest part was that I was still, no matter what, I was still glad that I scheduled the earliest class possible. Because then, once I finish those 3 hours, then I have the rest of the day. I can get my homework done. Again, gym, not really competitions during the week, but the point is, like, gym practices, being able to be present because I've already done my homework, or okay, I do some of my homework, take a little break because we're having dinner, we're going here and going there, and then I can go back home and finish my homework if need be. If I know it's gonna be just a busy weekend, hey, Friday I don't have class, cool, I can take the day to knock it out. Even this past Friday, knowing that the weekend was gonna be fairly busy and so on, I was able to knock everything out. And even then, I don't think I finished homework until probably like a little bit Saturday, like in here and there. But I didn't leave anything that was gonna cause me to like have to like necessarily cancel anything or leave from whatever we're doing, leave early because I need to go back home and do homework. That was the case in the beginning as I was gaining the groove and figuring out, okay, like what's actually being asked of me, how long does it take me for these assignments, how long, what are the actual expectations of the professor. And so all that to say for today's episode, and yes, the theme is why order brings peace, and for me the order includes scheduling as best as possible, scheduling the most important things in the morning, yes, but I mean in the sense of sometimes it's what are the tasks I don't want to do that I absolutely need to do. I.e., let's just say, like I'm taking stats and she wants to do a discussion after every exam. Okay, cool. I personally don't want to do that, but it's a grade. I need to do it. Okay, Friday got up, and that was the first thing I knocked out, and luckily I did because it took me I think almost a couple hours and that was with minimal breaks, as far as like just taking a pause or drinking some water or drinking my coffee. But it still took me a couple hours. It's a mandatory of minimum 500 words, so it's almost about a page. It's a little over a page if it's double spaced, and so that here's another example. If I need to do an oil change, I would do that the earliest amount possible. When I back in the day when I had my Mazda. Saturday mornings were generally the time I'd go and do that. It'd be I think the oil change place would open up like let's say at 8, and I'm like, oh, I know I need to knock this out. I'm gonna go do it first thing in the morning because now I know that fine if discrepancies come out during the day or whatever, it's fine. But I know that the things I need to absolutely do are done, and I won't be worried or anxious about it because if I'm being honest. Getting those necessities out of the way, when I don't do it, it does cause not like deep anxiety, but I get anxious. It's like, oh man, I know I need to do this thing. Oh man, I know I need to get this done. Man, I should have gotten XYZ done. Versus, again, my example for Friday is like, I literally woke up and I was like, I don't feel like doing that, but I was like, well, let it be the first thing I do in the day, because once it gets out of the way, then it's like cool. I can take a breath and I can cruise through the rest of the. Because I have more homework and I had more homework, but I can cruise through it versus that one piece of homework that I absolutely in my head didn't feel like doing. And I was listening to DJ Shipley, GBRS. You may know him. You may not know him. He was on Andrew Huberman. Recently, so I watched the episode. It took me a few days to watch it because I was doing it intermittently while doing homework and home life and stuff like that. But his schedule is so structured, and for him, from my perspective, it's like, oh man, like I'm not like that. I'm a little less rigid, but and if you watch previous episodes and kind of the evolution of what Moving with Life has been. There are little themes that stick out, i.e., okay, what are my priority needs? Like, what absolutely needs to get done this week, today, tomorrow? What can wait till tomorrow? That's another big thing too. Is like, what can wait till tomorrow? But I want to wrap up there and just bring you that current thought, my cheat code. At least as I've gotten to my school schedule and pace, is like having classes as soon as possible in the morning, which I've been able to do, and then a homework task, a home task, i.e. oil changes, anything like that. Obviously, aside from like doctor's appointments, stuff like that, but is get them knocked out as soon as possible, first thing in the morning, even if you get up at 8. But you get up, wash your face, brush your teeth, knock out the oil change, knock out that homework, knock out whatever assignment, knock out grading papers. It could be. I'm just giving examples, but I'll leave it there with that. Is my cheat code and what I like that I did as far as scheduling classes as early as possible. So with that, I'll read this quote, and it says, "So maybe it's not about changing your whole life. Maybe it's just about clearing one space, finishing one task, or writing one plan down. Bring a little order and watch the peace follow. Keep moving with life, and don't forget to subscribe, share, comment, shoot me an email. It's all in the show notes. And with that, I'll see you all next time."